Hey guys, welcome to Together We Can Cook. I'm going to be making a hero sandwich for dinner tonight. It's New Year's Eve. I'm going to start out by doing all of the fixins and getting them put away in the fridge so that the absolute last thing I have to do is just make the sandwich. I've already made macaroni salad and put that in the fridge. Last night I made potato salad. I put that away. So I'm going to just do onions, tomatoes. We like to put very finely shredded up cabbage on our heroes. And I'm just going to save the actual making of the sandwich till dead last, so that when I make the sandwich and put everything out, we're going to eat at that point, so that I don't have to put all these heroes back in the fridge and drag them out. So that's going to be last. I'm going to switch my camera over here so you guys can get a better look. And hopefully we will be eating that hero soon because I am starving. Okay, I'm going to be switching over to this really big serrated knife. I'm trying to get really paper thin pieces here, and I think this knife might be a little easier than that green one that I usually use for everything. Let's try to just get these slices into the bowl so we can move on to doing the tomatoes. Definitely probably going to stick with this knife, especially for the green cabbage. Now, as I get to the end, I don't want to cut myself. I'm going to be careful. Okay, here's what we got. I don't know if you guys can see. I know my hands are in the way. Nice little stringies. Exactly what we want. I'm going to put these in. So those two white onions were onions that I had left from stuff that we were cooking, other recipes. These red onions are what I bought yesterday that I meant to serve with my hero sandwich. So I'm going to switch over to this. I didn't really want to waste the other ones that I already had started. So let's get some red onions going here, and I'm just going to mix them together. And again, I'm just trying to make them as thin as I can. My eyes are starting to water, just like they always do. I always end up crying when we cut onions. And the last piece is always impossible, but I don't want to cut myself. Okay, I'm going to take off this little piece here that I don't like. I'm going to do this one, and then we'll just try to mix everything. I might have to take it out of the bowl to mix them. We'll see. Okay, I'm going to try to separate them. They're all nice and stringy like I like them. I'm going to put some in here, and some of the white ones and some of the red ones, and just try to mix everything up. I'm going to put these up on top. Smells really good, but my eyes are definitely tearing up. Okay, absolutely perfect. Let's move on to the tomatoes. Okay, I washed some tomatoes. I usually try to use beefsteak tomatoes because they make a nice firm slice for what I'm trying to do for this recipe for the sandwiches. I'm going to take this little green knife that I usually use for everything and take out the core. And then I'm going to go back to the serrated knife and try to make really paper thin tomato slices for a sandwich. If you have a mandolin, you could use that. You could probably use a food processor also to get these really thin slices, but I feel like this knife works really good. I don't know if you guys can see. really thin. So I'm going to keep going. I think I'll start with these 2 tomatoes, and that will probably be enough. I usually don't put tons of tomatoes on my sandwich. Maybe just 1. Okay, I'm going to start putting these over in the bowl. Just going to try to stagger them so that it's easier for people to get their piece. I'm going to keep going. It gets harder once you get to the end here. Okay, I'm going to stop so I don't cut my fingers off. Let's go into this next one. I'm just going to cut the end off. And I'm going to take this knife, circle around this little middle part, get rid of that, and switch back. I'm going to get this out of here. I also cut up roasted red peppers. If you'd like to see a complete video on it, I have one up on my channel right now. I basically just broiled them in the oven, kept flipping them, and then cut them open and scraped off the charred skin, and then sliced them up like this and just stuck them in a bowl so that we can use it as a sandwich topping later on. Okay, we have a nice beautiful head of cabbage here. We're going to try to slice this as thin as we possibly can. You could use lettuce or cabbage. I actually discovered the cabbage on top of hero sandwiches when I was traveling on vacation with my husband, and I had never seen people put cabbage on Italian sandwiches before, but it was so good. So we like to do that and remember our vacation also. So what I'm going to do is take this serrated knife and try to just shave off some of this as thin as I can get it so that we can put this on our sandwiches instead of lettuce. Okay. It's pretty much paper thin. I'm going to run my knife through it again. This is just like when we make coleslaw. Same kind of thing. So I'm just trying to get it into smallish kinds of pieces. And we're going to move it into the bowl and keep it going. And we're not going to need this whole cabbage. The rest of it, during the week, we could either use it for another recipe or we could make coleslaw. I don't have too many recipes that call for cabbage. You could put it in soups and stews. I make sausage with rice and cabbage. It's supposed to actually be rolled in the leaves, but I usually just cut it up and plop it on top. So I'm just going to keep going as thin as I can get it. I think this big serrated knife is the best one for this kind of thing. And I'm just going to run my knife through a few times. This batch came out really thin, so I don't really need to do much more chopping. I'm going to put it in. Let's do a little more. We're hoping to eat these sandwiches for tonight, which is New Year's Eve, tomorrow on New Year's Day, and maybe one more day. We can get a little bit of a rest and not have to cook dinner for a few nights. That would be great. The sandwich that we're making tonight and the macaroni and potato salad that I made to go along with it is a great make-ahead meal if you guys are doing like Super Bowl parties or any kind of party at your house or gathering. All this stuff can be prepared ahead of time, and then that will allow you to spend time with your guests. You could just take it out and it will be all ready for you. Okay, this is looking good. I'll do a tiny bit more and that's it. I'm going to move on to make the actual sandwich. All right, this is going to do it. Put this in the bowl. And we're going to move on. I'm starving and I need that sandwich now. Okay, so here's what the table is looking like so far. We have barbecued chips and these little cheesy poofs, our onions that we cut up, roasted red peppers, a ton of bread, tomatoes. There's the cabbage. Here is all the cold cuts. So I'm going to put my camera up on this stand and we're going to start working on the sandwich together. Okay, here's our first Italian bread. Very carefully and slowly, we're going to like fillet it. Like when we make chicken cutlets. We're going to fillet this bread. Okay, I got it. Flip open the top and we're going to start layering everything that we have. So the first thing I'm going to layer is Finlandia brand Swiss. This is my favorite brand, but any type of cheese or any brand of Swiss cheese will do. This is just the one that I like the best. So I put 2 layers down of that. Let's switch over to Genoa salami. So I'm just going to take the pieces. I don't know if you guys ever watch Scooby-Doo. He always used to make sandwiches, Shaggy and Scooby. And my husband and I always got hungry when we watched. So here is the Genoa salami. Let's put one more. I'm going to switch over to honey ham. So let's put the ham. You could get any ham that you'd like. Plain, Virginia, there's all different types. The store that I got this, their store brand honey ham is just out of this world. Sometimes at night I come out and I take just like one little piece as a snack before I go to bed. It's so good. Okay, we got the ham. We're going to move on. Here is mortadella. In case you guys aren't familiar, most Italian sandwiches have mortadella. You can see the little green in here. Those are pistachio nuts. It's kind of like bologna, but it has a very distinct flavor. It's so good. I actually got extra of it because I love it so much. So I'm going to layer a lot of this on. I might put one at the end. I feel like whoever gets the end always gets gypped. So let's put extra down on the end. I'm going to move on to pepperoni. Let's get that going. Trying to pay attention to the ends to not gyp whoever gets that piece. And I'm just going right down the thing here, layering. Okay, and the last thing, American cheese. I'm just going to put one layer of the American. Right down the row here. Okay, so everything is on. I'm going to put the lid back on. How about that? Imagine if this was your lunch going to work every day. All right, let's cut it up. Now, if you are having like a huge party, like a communion or a christening, usually when we order sandwiches already made from the supermarket. They do like little tiny like slivers, and each person, I mean, people take more than one, but I guess they cut it tiny on purpose because it's got to go far. Maybe you have like 50 people over. But for our purpose, it's just my family tonight. There's no one from the outside here. We're going to try to be eating this like for the next couple days so that we have meals ready and we can rest, because we've had such a chaotic Thanksgiving and Christmas season. We're all ready for a break. So I'm making big pieces because I know it's just us, and if someone wants less, they can cut this in half. This is actually a cool meal prep idea for your lunches for the week if you're going to be busy or you're working. Obviously, you don't need 5 hero breads and tons of cold cuts, but if you got 1 or 2 hero breads and less cold cuts, you could make these, wrap them up really well, and just put them aside and take one every day when you go to work. It might make things a little bit easier. And you could keep your toppings in a separate container or bag, or your mayo or your mustard, so that they don't get all soggy and crazy after a couple days. So now that I have them cut up like this and ready, I'm just going to transfer them into this tin here. And I usually put toothpicks to keep them together. So pretty much we're just reassembling it and putting it right back in there. And then we're going to move on. I don't know how many breads it's going to take to make this. I bought extra just in case, and if we don't eat them, we could either freeze it, or we could make like garlic bread or bruschetta breads or something else out of it. Usually in this house, Italian bread never goes to waste. Okay, so here's number 2. So I'm just going to keep going just like we did. And let's see how far we get. Sometimes by the end, you kind of have to ration things or pay attention, because I got 1.5 pounds of the mortadella and I got 1 pound of everything else. So sometimes by the way end, like somebody's sandwich will be missing the ham or missing whatever, or you have to ration it and be like, okay, I have 1 sandwich left and there's not much left of that cold cut. You know, don't go crazy with it. Try to stretch it out for all of them. The first one is always the easiest one. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to pause you guys for a second and let's see how much we get here. Okay, everything is all wrapped up. We're all done with our sandwich. I'm just going to pan over everything so you guys can check it out. I added pickles and mayo and mustard, macaroni and potato salad. Those videos will be up on my channel. And that's about it. Here's our New Year's Eve spread. I hope you guys have an awesome New Year's and a great 2026. If you made it this far in my video, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it.